Well, hello and welcome to yoga for everyday endurance athletes and normal people too. There's actual heat in Wisconsin a little bit. It's still raining, but it's actual heat, so I'm not feeling as freezing in the garage studio as normal. We are going to start in a seated position and we are just going to practice our breathing. So first of all, inhale in through your nose, down into your belly. Maybe when you breathe into your belly, try to push your belly out against the waistband of your pants, or even put your thumb on your belly button and push against that, and just try to drag your breath down into your belly, and then breathe in through your nose. First priority is breathing through your nose. Second priority is trying to work into your belly. We'll do a few of those breaths. So today's class is going to be kind of reminiscent a little bit of what we did on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday, or maybe it was last week. But we're going to do it a few times and try to get into a bit of a flow as we roll through the poses. We're going to start with a few flows, sun salutations, to try to warm up our shoulders in particular. All right, let's roll forward onto hands and knees into a cows and cats. And in cow, we'll inhale. So again, we're going to use everything is going to be based on your breath movement. So when you inhale into your belly, drop your belly down, stick your butt out, and lift your head up a little bit. So your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. On the exhale, drop your head, arch your back, and tuck your hips under. This is the cat. And then start to inhale. And as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your head up, stick your butt out into cow. When your inhale is done, come into cat, arch your back, drop your head. So this is a chance to practice movement that is guided by your breath. Inhale into cat, if that's where you're at, and you're just going at your own pace. So the one thing that we will do a little bit different this class is that we will spend less time doing downward dogs. And we'll just kind of flow through them as opposed to try to hold them, just to keep moving. Good. All right, let's bring your hands to the front of the mat. Curl your toes back under. We'll come into that downward dog, but just for a breath. Inhale, look to the top of the mat, walk your feet forward into a forward fold. Inhale into a half lift. So now your torso is flat to the ground or parallel to the ground. Hands are on your knees or on your shins. Exhale back down to a forward fold. So now you're in a forward fold, you're just trying to hinge and bring your belly and your chest towards your knees. And then inhale, roll up, bring your arms up overhead. As you inhale, bring your hands together, and then bring your hands to heart center as you exhale, and then bring your hands to your side. All right, so now we're going to come into the sun salutation part, and we'll flow through this several times. All right, so here we go. Arms up overhead, inhale. Exhale, swan dive down to a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, bring your hands to the mat and step your right foot back into a lunge. And we're going to hold this for a moment. So I'm on my knuckles here and my knees on the my elbows on the inside of my knee. But you can be any way you want to. If you need to, you can always drop your knee as well. But we're just trying to create a little bit of mobility in our hips. So the inhale is to lift your hips up. The exhale is to let your hips sink as far as they're ready to sink. And that's just the movement with the breathing. And then exhale. And then as you inhale one more time, exhale your left foot back to a downward dog. Inhale, walk your feet forward to a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way back up. And then all the way back down to the forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale your hands back down to the mat. This time bring your left foot back into the lunge. And again, inhale your hips up. Exhale, let your hips sink a little bit. And you'll know when they need to stop. You don't want them ever to hurt. You just want to feel like, okay, that's the end of that comfortable range of motion. Then we'll inhale, bring your right foot back into a downward dog. Inhale, look to the top of the mat and walk your feet forward again into a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale to a forward fold. All the way up. And then all the way back down to a forward fold. Start your inhale into a half lift. Exhale, this time bring your right foot back again, but this time drop your knee. Okay? You can have your hands, if you want to come into a lizard pose, if this is okay for you to have my left elbows inside of my left knee, I'm on my knuckles. You can be on your hands if that is available to you. You can also have a box or a block or a book. So the inhale is to bring your hips back. The exhale is to roll them forward as if your right hip was going to come to the floor. I mean, it's not going to get there, but that's the idea. So it's just gentle movement. You're just trying to increase your range of motion. We'll do that one more time. Good. And then if you need to, put your hands on the mat, bring your left foot back into a downward dog. Inhale, look to the top of the mat and walk your feet forward into a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up into your belly. And exhale, just let the breath back out as you fall forward. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, left foot back this time. Drop your left knee. And now we'll be in a lizard pose. If that works for you, I'm on my knuckles here. It's a little bit tighter on my left side. Most of us have one side or the other that is a little tight. Again, inhale, bring your hips back. Exhale, let them roll forward. And you may feel it, you'll feel this in the front of your left hip, in your hip flexors, and you will likely feel this in the back of your right thigh and your hamstrings. Interesting that they're called hamstrings, now that I think about it. So I immediately, well, never mind, I'm not going to go there. All right, one more time. Inhale and exhale forward. Inhale, bring your hips back, hands down, right foot back into a downward dog. Inhale, look to the top of the mat, walk your feet forward. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. And we're going to do that round one more time. Just a little bit different this time. Inhale, exhale down to a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, bring your right foot back, right knee back, right hand on the mat, and with your left hand, put it on your left knee, or you can bring it up into the air. We're going to do a lizard twist. So the inhale is to drop your right shoulder or right arm. The exhale is to rotate your torso, lift your left shoulder up into the air. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, just rotate as much as you feel like you can. Good, and bring your left hand down. Bring your left foot back, come into a downward dog. Inhale, walk your feet forward into a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold, all the way up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale to a half lift. And exhale, now we come down with the left knee, left hand on the ground, right hand on the right knee, or extend into a full lizard twist. Either way, the inhale is to drop your hand. The exhale is to lift your right shoulder on top of your left shoulder. But keep breathing into your belly. A good sign, if you can't breathe into your belly because you're working too hard, then back off. Don't try to twist so much. Good. Bring your right hand down to the mat. Bring your right foot back into downward dog. Inhale, lift to the top of the mat. Walk your feet forward. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. All the way up. Now, this time, hands together. Exhale, hands to heart center. And let your hands come down. Nicely done. Sun salutations. Take a drink. Or don't. Relax. Let's be in our mountain pose here. And in mountain pose, the goal is to feel, not look necessarily, but feel as straight as possible, as if from your ankles to the top of your skull, you were getting smushed between two giant pieces of wood. And we're like in one of those action movies where it's coming down to the wire and we're the hero and the wood's smushing and smushing and smushing. It's gonna, yeah, never mind. We'll hear, that's the idea. You want to be as straight as possible. So have your knees just a little bent. Your hips are rotated just a little from the bottom forward. Excuse me. And you're kind of squeezing your glutes just a little bit. Your shoulders are rolled back just a scooch. Your arms are at your side. Maybe your hands are a little open. And your skull is kind of flopping around until it's right smack in the middle of your shoulders. Breathe into your belly. Good. From here, bring your right hand on top of your head. Bring your left hand on top of your right hand. And you can leave it here, or you can bring your arms up in the air. We're just going to do a side bend. So I'm pushing my left hip out, and I'm tipping over to the right. Then the inhale is to come back a little bit. And the exhale is to let my hip come out and me, I'm like a little teapot. Little teapot, short and stout. It's kind of fun when I teach at the senior center. I sometimes start singing that song, and some of the older folks start singing along with me. It's kind of crazy how we all remember this song from our youth when we were little tiny people. Or maybe we sang it to our little tiny people. Good. Inhale, come on back. So the option is to have your hand on your head if this is hard on your shoulders. Okay, and let's exhale your hips over to the right and tilt over to the left, or the opposite of what you were doing before. Couple more times. Inhale, then push your hips out as you exhale. So we're trying to kind of feel this in our right side body, our right hip. Last one. Good. Bring your arms down to your side. Find your breath in mountain again. Inhale your arms up overhead again. And this time you're going to lead with your right hand and you're going to twist over to your left. So your right hand comes forward, twist over as far as comfortable, and then come back up on the inhale. And the exhale, lead with your left hand, turn to the right. Inhale up. Exhale to the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, rotate. And again, you can always do this with your hands at your hips if this is a lot for your shoulders. And exhale. Good. Now bring your hands back down. All right. Perfect timing. All right. So now what we're going to do is kind of a strength part of our routine, doing some warrior ones and some humble warriors and some triangles. So it's going to be a lot of torso strength that we're really working on here. Torso and hip. So find your breath. Take a step back with your right foot on the exhale. Drop your right heel and come into a warrior one pose. So the warrior one, my front knee is bent and over my front ankle. On the exhale, I'm trying to rotate my shoulders forward. My hips are going to come with me. My back leg is mostly straight, but not locked out. And that's what's going to make it, you're going to feel this in your inside of your right hip. The work's being done by your left thigh, and you're feeling the opening in your left hip. So the inhale is open a little bit, relax your right thigh, and then exhale, try to rotate. So the goal is to have both your hips and your shoulders facing forward while you're almost creating a back bend. So there's tons of isometric strength work being done with your left glute and your left quads and hamstrings, and then opening the right hip joint, creating a greater range of motion in through your psoas and to the muscles in your inner hip. All right, good. Now, we're going to drop our hands behind us and come into humble warrior. So you're going to get your hands together like this, and then roll your torso forward so that your left shoulder is coming inside of your left knee, and you're dropping your head as much as you can. So this is a really challenging pose. We're not going to spend much time in it, but breathe into your belly. All right, good. One more time. And then inhale, and as you exhale, roll back into a warrior one, but do it slowly so you don't get a giant head rush like I just did. Whew. Good. Inhale, open. Exhale, rotate forward. All right, now on the next inhale, we're going to start rolling to a warrior two. So on the exhale, inhale up, exhale, roll your shoulders and your hips to the side now, and extend your left hand forward and right hand back. So then the inhale is to do the opposite of what we were doing for warrior one. I'm going to leave my shoulders, and then I'm going to try to make them as long as possible. And again, if this is hard on your arms, you can always have your hands at your waist and just reach. Often in the inhale too, I'm kind of coming up a little bit with my knee, and then exhaling and trying to sink a little bit farther into a warrior pose. So again, I'm feeling a pull on my inside of my right hip, and I'm feeling the strength in my left glute and quad. You can even think about being kind of driving in with your left heel into the mat. Good. Now we're going to inhale, straighten your front leg, reach with your left hand, and we're going to tip over and do another twist like we were doing with the lizard twist, but this is triangle. All right, so triangle, our torso, the goal of it is to be parallel to the floor. You can have your hand, my elbow on the inside of my left knee. You can have your hand on your shin. The goal is to inhale your shoulder down, let it come down, and the exhale is to rotate up with your breath on the exhale. So inhale down, exhale, rotate. So the goal, like the lizard, is to get your right shoulder on top of your left. So both palms are facing forward. Good. Now we're going to slowly roll up with our torso. We're going to switch our feet. So now my left foot is facing forward. My right is now down at an angle, and I'm going to come into a warrior one on the other side. So just be aware of the differences in your body and how things are feeling. Inhale, open up a little bit. Exhale, try to roll forward. So again, trying to keep your back leg straight without locking your knee. Inhale and then exhale, reach up if you can. Okay, on your next exhale, drop your hands behind you and drop your torso into humble warrior. The goal is to be coming as low as you can, bringing your hands up as high as you are able to. And the goal is to try to get weight on your back foot, which is so hard to do. Like it's all feeling like it's in my front thigh, it's just yelling at me right now. All right, slowly come back up to a warrior one. Good. Now, inhale, we're going to rotate to a warrior two. So rotate hips, shoulders, extend your hands opposite directions. First thing to check is your front knee. What we tend to do is let it roll in. Make sure it's right over your front ankle. Check your back leg that it's still straight. Inhale, you can rotate your shoulders a little bit. Exhale, extend. Try to keep, again, weight on your back foot so your torso is not leaning forward, but it's straight up and down. Take one more breath here. All right, now we'll inhale, front leg straight, reach with your right hand. We're going to come into a triangle on this side. So again, you're trying to lower your left shoulder as low as it will go. And then we're trying to bring your right shoulder as low as it'll go, and then bring your left shoulder up as high as it will go. So the inhale is dropping your shoulder. The exhale is bringing it up. You can try looking at your left hand, but if that's hard on your neck at all, then don't. You can just look forward. You can just look at me on the camera. That's always a good thing. All right, now, one more of these. Good. I'm getting tired, so let's bring it up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate again to the other side, but this time we're not going to hold the poses for very long, basically a breath and a half. So now my left foot is forward, right foot is back. I'm back into warrior one. So inhale, exhale, forward. Inhale, drop your hands, come down into a humble warrior. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, back up to warrior one. Inhale and exhale and rotate into warrior two. Inhale, front leg straight, reach with your left hand, come into a triangle. Bring your torso up, rotate your feet, warrior one with your right foot forward. Inhale and exhale into humble warrior, drop your hands behind you. Roll back up to warrior one. Roll to a warrior two. Check your front knee that it stays over your ankle. Inhale, front leg straight. Reach with your right hand. Come into a triangle. And then we're going to inhale and then cartwheel your hands down back to the mat, whichever direction you're going. Bring your right foot back into a downward dog. And then bring your right knee forward. We're going to come into a pigeon pose. And we're going to come into an upright pigeon pose. And this will be our last pose of the night. So in pigeon, my right knee is near my right hand. Your knee is bent at whatever angle is comfortable for you. Start scooching your left knee back as far as your range of motion will let you. I'm keeping both hands upright. We're not. So sleeping pigeon is when you come down here. We're going to make this a more active hip movement. So the inhale is to roll my hips kind of forward and to the left, as if I was trying to bring my left hip bone to the mat. The exhale is to bring my right butt cheek closer to the mat. So it's rolling down back and to the right. And then inhale, rolling to the left and up. Exhale, rolling down. We'll do one more breath. And bring your right, curl your left toe underneath. Bring your right foot back into a downward dog. Bring your left knee forward towards your left hand. Rotate your left foot. Now bring your right knee back as much as comfortable. And we'll do the same thing there. The inhale is now to bring my right hip bone closer to the mat. And then the exhale is to take my left butt cheek and roll it down. So I'll feel that in my glute. Bit of a stretch and a lengthening in the glute muscle, glute major. But you're also, if you're lucky, going to stretch out a little bit of the medius and the minimus, which are on the side of your booty. And in the front, if you're able to, you might get a little bit of a opening of your hip flexors in the front of your right thigh. Kind of depends on how open your hips are. And now comes the most one of the most fun transitions. We're going to exhale, let our butt come all the way down, roll your right foot around and come into a seated position. Perfect. All right, let's find our breath into our belly. We did some good movement tonight. Bring your hands by your side. We're going to inhale, bring your hands up overhead, hands together. Exhale your hands down to heart center. Thank you for joining us tonight. Namaste. All right, thanks. If you got questions about yoga, simpleendurancecoaching.com if you want to find out about training plans for cyclists, runners, and triathletes. Take care. See ya.